A meteorite strikes the Earth, causing a massive explosion. Lera ducks under the bed, dodging the first blast wave. Debris continuously flies into the room, yet Lera remains impressively calm, swiftly puts on her shoes, and dashes out the door. In the hallway, she saw even more panicked neighbors as she screamed and got into the elevator. The walls are already cracking severely, prompting Lera to decide to head to the escape passage balcony to assess the situation. Observing the sky filled with various fragments, she realizes the severity of the situation and hastily runs down the escape route. The area is overcrowded, causing congestion. Accidentally, Lera is knocked down by the crowd but luckily rolls down the stairs without getting trampled. Realizing she can't continue like this, Lera moves to a second-floor windowsill to look around. Spotting a car parked below, she jumps down from the balcony. Debris still streaks through the air. At that moment, a distraught mother grabs Lera. Her daughter is trapped in the car. She pleads for Lera's help. Lera tries to open the car door but fails. Fortunately, her friend Misha appears, breaks the car window with his hand, and rescues the girl. Then, he pulls Lera under a bus for cover. It's still not safe there, so Misha pulls Lera and the crowd to flee. They had just run to a side street when a meteorite lands across from them, bringing a massive shockwave. Seeing Lera panic, Misha pulls her aside to comfort her, but several fragments fall from the wall. Misha can only push Lera to the opposite side. Lera is still concerned about Misha when a speeding car suddenly hits her. Fortunately, the responsible elderly couple gets help to place Lera in the car, and they continue to flee. The street situation is very complicated, but the old man drives with focus, and Lera slowly wakes up in the seat. Seeing Lera awake, the couple is overjoyed. Lera looks through the rear window and sees the terrible road conditions. A truck suddenly stops in front of them. The old man quickly reverses, only to be hit by another car. Now, the car won't start. Lera urges them to run, but they insist on taking their cat. A nearby high-rise has already collapsed. Lera can only run to a mall for safety. Human speed can't outpace the shockwave. She is buried under the rubble. Actually, the ground was not supposed to look like this. It was only because the meteorite hit a space station in orbit before it struck Earth, bringing a vast amount of debris from the space station with it, that the sky was filled with so many remnants. Lera's father, Arabov, is an astronaut on the space station. Just waking up inside the space station, he observes the malfunctioning of various instruments and equipment, with debris from the space station scattered all across space. Arabov is not concerned with these issues. He immediately checks the situation on the ground to look for his daughter. As in Arabov's heart, his daughter is his everything. Tears well up in Arabov's eyes, hoping for a miracle to occur. Arabov remembers he had installed a camera on his daughter's teddy bear. He tries to communicate with Lera through the bear. Unexpectedly, Lera wakes up at this moment and responds to Arabov. Arabov asks Lera to hold the teddy bear in front of herself so he can see her condition. Seeing his daughter safe and sound, Arabov finally breathes a sigh of relief. He advises his daughter to stay calm and not panic, promising to quickly arrange for someone to rescue her. By this time, a search and rescue dog has already located Lera by scent. It barks incessantly at the sight, and Lera extends the teddy bear out of the rubble to signal someone is there. Rescuers quickly extract Lera from the debris. The city is still not safe. Lera sees a car crushed by falling rocks. The rescuer hastily points Lera in the direction to leave, then rushes to assist another person. Lera's stepfather is very influential. By this time, he has arrived at the military base and has connected Lera and Arabov's call. When Lera learns that her brother is not with their mother, she remembers something. According to the school's arrangements, her brother went to the building today to watch the meteor shower. Arabov urgently asks where her brother is, but Lera turns to look at the tallest building. A tear rolls down Lera's cheek. She can't accept her brother's death. Arabov also pulls up the building's status, and according to assessments, the building is very dangerous, with a calculated 87% chance of collapse. Hearing this, Lera can no longer hold back and rushes towards the dangerous building. Arabov tries to dissuade his daughter, but the call is cut off, as the station also sends out an alarm that the life support module and the battery station have been disconnected from the system, requiring Arabov to rush to the escape module. Unexpectedly, Arabov pulls up the malfunction diagram, then heads to the spacesuit, preparing to go out and repair the pipeline himself. Lera has already arrived under the dangerous building, where various bricks, cement, and other construction materials are continuously falling. Glancing at the building's entrance, Lera takes a deep breath and then runs inside, calling out her brother's name as she enters. Lera sees the traces of the collapsed elevator shaft and feels a chill in her heart. fearing her brother might have died there. Nevertheless, Lera musters the courage to climb towards the upper floors. As she nears the rooftop, she indeed finds her brother there. Lera rushes to get under her brother and tells him to take it easy. Jump down and she'll catch him. Her brother calms down and jumps as Lera instructed. Lera firmly catches her brother, soothes him with a few words, and then hurries with him towards the building's exit. But the collapse is accelerating, and running around aimlessly could lead to a quicker demise. Suddenly, Lera finds herself trapped in a dead end with no way out. Despite knowing space is filled with debris and having escape pods available, Arabov insists on fixing the space capsule himself to restore its operation. After taking a deep breath, Arabov leaps out. The system warns Arabov to be careful not to let the debris damage his suit. Just as it finishes speaking, Arabov is struck by a piece of debris, causing him to spin violently. Arabov's body continuously collides with various parts of the space capsule, and his rescue rope gets caught on a piece of debris. Fortunately, the distance between the space station and the battery module is not far. Arabov, holding a cable, reaches the battery module and successfully restores power to the space capsule. With the space capsule operational, Arabov quickly contacts Lera, only to learn that his daughter and son are trapped in the building. Arabov rushes back to the capsule, pulls up the building's blueprints, and tells Lera that her only chance of survival is to go down through the elevator shaft. Seeing the dark and deep shaft, her brother is too scared to go down. Lera has no choice but to carry her brother on her back. Suddenly, the building shakes violently. Lera hurriedly carries her brother down the elevator shaft, but the teddy bear falls to the bottom of the shaft, breaking the camera and severing Arabov's connection with Lera completely. Seeing his daughter as a child on the monitor breaks Arabov's heart. If his daughter were to die, he would have no hope for the future. Fortunately, Lera reacts quickly, leading her brother little by little towards the bottom of the elevator shaft. By this time, they have reached the first floor, and seeing her brother pick up the teddy bear, Lera quickly escapes with her brother. Just as they run out of the building begins to collapse. The hook above swung toward them. Luckily, Lera and her brother run fast enough to avoid disaster. After reaching a store, the siblings are finally safe. By now, dust has enveloped the area. Lera and her brother cover their noses and mouths with cloth and slowly walk along the street. At this point, Lera has lost her sense of direction. Seeing a figure on the street, Lera quickly approaches to ask for directions, only to find it's a charred body. Seeing this, Lera hurries back to her brother, who is holding a telescope, pointing towards a car in the distance. For some reason, the car was honking its horn and putting on its double blinkers. As they approach this car, they see another car behaving the same way. Suddenly, her brother runs into the fog, drawn by traffic lights that have inexplicably turned on, with the green light flashing continuously. Her brother believes this is a sign from Arabov. Since Arabov is in the space station, he could be using the technology of the Internet of Things. Lera hadn't believed the conjecture, but when the red light came on at the next intersection, she too had to believe it was help from her father. Indeed, Arabov has been operating from the spacecraft, guiding his children to the correct path. Thus, Lera and her brother followed the directions, walking as if they weren't fleeing for their lives but leisurely strolling in a park. Eventually, they arrived at the rescue point. Unexpectedly, the rescue point was not safe either, as debris from the sky kept falling, directly causing an explosion in a cabin of a cruise ship on the ground. The blast hurled her brother away, and a helicopter was blown onto the ground by the gust. Lera hurriedly sought a doctor with her brother, but the medical cabin was overcrowded, and no one paid attention to Lera. Seeing an evacuating plane, Lera quickly carried her brother, hoping to get him on board, who knew that the plane was also full and the pilot was in a hurry to close the hatch when a hand suddenly appeared and Misha, who had disappeared for a long time, was actually on the plane. He gave up his seat for her brother. Lera thought she was safe, but then Arabov contacted her through Misha's phone. Arabov informed Lera about the situation on the cruise ship and mentioned that a massive explosion was expected to happen soon, which could cover half the city. Hence, he urged Lera to evacuate quickly. Even if Lera informed the rescue workers about the cruise ship's condition, it wouldn't solve the problem. However, Misha mentioned that there was a fire extinguishing system on the cruise ship that could easily put out the fire if activated. Arabov doesn't believe Misha and tells Lera that it's better to run for her life now. Hearing Arabov say this made Lera angry. This was when she needed her father the most, and he was asking her to give up, letting so many people die in vain. So she angrily throws the phone into the sea. with a distraught Misha screaming at the side because he really didn't buy this phone at a cheap price. Lera insists on getting on the boat and Misha has to accompany her. They row a wooden boat to the cruise ship, only then discovering the situation on board is far worse than they imagined. Lera quickly takes out the teddy bear, still hoping for Arabov's assistance. Now that his daughter is on the ship, Arabov directly informs Lera of the specific path to take. Misha drags Lera through the ship's cabins, racing against death itself. Upon reaching the fire control room, they discover the firefighting system is locked. They must manually activate the system, as the situation is extremely urgent. Misha forcefully opens the hatch, shocking Lera, who stands frozen, crying out loud. Arabov just manages to comfort Lera when the space station suddenly loses power, due to the cable Arabov had previously connected breaking. Worse still, under the force of inertia, the space station begins to plummet towards the Earth. Without power, the space station's life support system becomes unusable, and the oxygen will quickly run out. Faced with a choice between launching the escape pod to return to Earth or ensuring his daughter's escape, Arabov doesn't hesitate and uses the backup power to supply the space station. Knowing his life is nearly at an end, Arabov connects to Misha's prosthetic, gently touches Lera's face through it, and reveals everything. Hearing of Arabov's impending death, Lera is overwhelmed with complex emotions. Arabov tells Lera to act quickly. There are protective suits in the box opposite them. If Lera wears one and enters the fire, she can manually activate the firefighting system. As he finishes speaking, the space station begins its rapid descent. Arabov, along with the space station, enters the atmosphere, the exterior burning red. Lera, in her protective suit and with the teddy bear pinned to her chest, stands before the blaze, vaguely seeing her father on the other side. Seeing this, Lera stops crying. She took one step into the fire and came to the hydrant and frantically twisted the valve as the fire was gradually extinguished. Cold water droplets hit Misha's face, waking him up. Knowing his daughter is safe, Arabov smiles contentedly in his final moments. Wearing his sunglasses, a butterfly flutters its wings slowly on the porthole. Lera and Misha, supporting each other, walk out of the cabin, seeing a shooting star cross the sky. Lera knows it's her father from the space station. Peace is finally restored. Lera arrives at her favorite beach, a place she loved to visit in her childhood, filled with many memories of her and her father. But now, with Misha guarding Lera in Arabov's stead, her future is bound to be filled with happiness.